The house on Jasmine Hill. In the misty valleys of southern China, nestled between lush green mountains and winding rivers, there was an ancient house perched on Jasmine Hill. The house, known as Meihua Yuan, or Plum Blossom Garden, was built hundreds of years ago by a family of artists. Its wooden beams were carved with dragons and phoenixes, its stone courtyard paved with worn gray stones, and its roof curled at the edges like the waves of the nearby river. The air was always scented with the sweet aroma of jasmine, which grew wild along the hillside. Far away in a bustling city across the ocean lived a boy named Alex. Alex was curious and full of dreams. He had always been fascinated by stories of faraway lands, ancient cultures, and hidden treasures. One day, his parents told him they were moving to China for a year because of his father's work. Alex felt nervous but also thrilled. He loved the idea of an adventure. When they arrived in China, instead of living in a modern apartment in the city, Alex's family rented the old house on Jasmine Hill. The locals whispered that Meihua Yuan was special, almost magical, but they never said why. Alex didn't care about rumors, he was just excited to explore. The first time he walked through the heavy wooden gates, he felt like he had stepped into another world. Lanterns hung from the eaves, and the garden was alive with colorful koi fish swimming in a pond surrounded by bamboo. A giant old plum tree stood proudly in the center of the courtyard, its twisted branches heavy with fragrant blossoms. Alex's room was upstairs with a window that overlooked the mountains. On his first night, as he lay in bed, he heard a soft tapping sound. He got up and looked out the window, but there was nothing, only the moonlight glimmering on the pond. Shrugging it off, he went back to bed. The next morning, while exploring the garden, Alex found a small stone path hidden behind a wall of jasmine vines. Curious, he followed it and discovered a secret door half hidden by moss and ivy. With a little push, the door creaked open, revealing a forgotten part of the house. An old library filled with dusty scrolls, faded paintings, and mysterious artifacts. One particular painting caught Alex's eye. It showed a boy standing under the plum tree holding a lantern. Beneath the painting in neat calligraphy were the words, "He who holds the light shall find the way." That night, Alex dreamed of the boy in the painting. In the dream, the boy smiled and beckoned Alex to follow him through the secret door. When Alex woke, the dream felt so real that he decided to investigate further. Night after night, Alex returned to the secret library, reading the old scrolls and piecing together the house's history. He learned that Meihua Yuan had once been the home of a famous artist who painted scenes that could come to life under the right conditions. The artist's final masterpiece, it was said, was hidden somewhere within the house. A painting so powerful it could open a doorway to another world. One evening, when the moon was full, Alex took a lantern and stood under the plum tree, just like in the painting. The wind whispered through the branches and the air grew still. Suddenly, the ground beneath the tree shifted, revealing a small stone staircase spiraling down into the earth. With his heart pounding, Alex descended the stairs. At the bottom, he found a circular room lit by the soft glow of thousands of tiny crystals embedded in the walls. In the center of the room was a single painting, a vast landscape of mountains, rivers, and cities floating among the clouds. As Alex stepped closer, the painting shimmered and pulsed with life. Without thinking, he reached out and touched it. Instantly, he was pulled forward, tumbling through swirling colors and rushing wind. When he opened his eyes, Alex was standing in a world unlike anything he had ever seen. A land of flying ships, talking animals, and towers of jade that touched the sky. It was the world from the painting, alive and real. Over the next months, Alex traveled through this magical land, making friends and learning ancient secrets. But he never forgot Meihua Yuan, or the plum tree that had been the doorway to this adventure. He knew one day he would return home, but for now he had a whole new world to explore. The guardian of the painting. Alex wandered through the floating mountains and sparkling rivers of the magical world, his lantern always swinging from his hand. Everything here seemed to shimmer with life. Even the trees whispered secrets, and the stones hummed ancient songs under his feet. One day, while crossing a bridge made of glowing crystal, Alex spotted someone watching him from the other side. a girl about his age dressed in flowing robes the color of the sunset. Her hair was tied with red and gold ribbons, and she carried a long wooden staff with a carving of a plum blossom at the top. "Who are you?" Alex called out, feeling a little nervous. The girl smiled gently. "My name is Leon," she said. "I have been waiting for you." "Waiting? For me?" Alex asked, confused. Leon nodded. She explained that the magical world was called Hua Yun, the realm of blossoming clouds, and it was created long ago by the artist who had lived in Mei Hua Yuan. Only someone pure of heart, someone brave enough to find the secret path could enter it. And once they did, a great task awaited them. "You are the new keeper," Leon said seriously. "The painting that brought you here must be protected. If it falls into the wrong hands, both your world and this one could be lost forever." Alex's heart thumped in his chest. He had always dreamed of adventure, but now it was real, and much bigger than he had imagined. Together, Leon and Alex set off on a quest to find the Heart Brush, a magical tool hidden deep within the mountains that could repair or protect any painting. Along the way, they faced many challenges: fierce river spirits, riddles from mischievous wind sprites, and even a maze of living bamboo that tried to trap them. Through it all, Alex and Leon became close friends. She taught him how to read the ancient runes carved into rocks and how to hear the voices of the trees. In return, Alex taught her games from his world, and they laughed together under twin moons that hung low and bright in the sky. One night, as they camped beside a silver waterfall, Leon grew quiet. "There is something else you must know," she said, her voice barely louder than the rushing water. "Someone else seeks the painting, a shadow painter who wants to erase the borders between worlds and rule them both. He was once the artist's apprentice, but he turned to darkness." Alex listened, feeling the weight of the task settle heavier on his shoulders. But he also felt a spark of determination ignite in his heart. He wouldn't let Mei Hua Yuan or Hua Yun fall into darkness. The next morning, they climbed the highest mountain where the Heart Brush was hidden. At the summit, they found a shrine guarded by an enormous dragon made of mist and starlight. The dragon tested Alex, asking him riddles about courage, kindness, and trust. When Alex answered with honesty and heart, the dragon smiled and gifted him the Heart Brush, its handle carved from the wood of the ancient plum tree. With the Heart Brush in hand, Alex and Leon knew they were ready to face whatever came next, even the shadow painter himself. They looked out across the endless sky, side by side, and Alex whispered, "I'm ready." Leon smiled and squeezed his hand. "Then let's go protect our worlds."
The Battle of the Two Worlds. Alex and Leon traveled back down the mountain, the Heart Brush safe inside a velvet pouch tied to Alex's belt. They knew they had little time. The sky above Hua Yun was changing. Dark clouds were gathering, swirling like angry ink across a once clear canvas. The shadow painter had arrived. They hurried to the Gateway Grove, the sacred place where the magical painting, the portal between the worlds, was kept. As they reached the grove, Alex's heart sank. The ancient trees were dying, their leaves turning to ash. And in the center of the grove stood a tall figure cloaked in black, his face hidden by a hood, his hands stained with swirling dark paint. "You are too late," the shadow painter hissed. His voice was like a brush dragging across broken paper. "The portal will be mine. Both worlds will bow to me." Alex felt fear curl in his stomach, but then he felt Leon beside him, standing strong, her staff gripped tightly in her hand. "You're wrong," Alex said, surprising even himself with the strength in his voice. "You forgot something. The heart of a painting comes from light, not darkness." The shadow painter snarled and swept his brush across the air. From the ground, black creatures made of dripping paint clawed their way into the world. Alex and Leon fought bravely, Leon with her staff, calling on the spirit of the plum tree, and Alex with the heart brush, which glowed with a pure golden light. Every time Alex struck with the heart brush, the dark creatures melted away, like shadows chased off by the morning sun. But the shadow painter was powerful, and he began to twist the very air around the painting, trying to rip it apart. Thinking fast, Alex remembered something the dragon had whispered to him. The heart brush does not only mend paintings, it mends hearts. Realizing what he had to do, Alex didn't attack the shadow painter. Instead, he dipped the heart brush into the pool of golden light around the grove and painted a single plum blossom in the air, delicate, pure, and filled with hope. The blossom floated toward the shadow painter. At first, he screamed in anger, trying to swipe it away. But when the blossom touched his chest, the blackness around him began to crack and fall away. Beneath the darkness was a man with sad eyes. He dropped to his knees, the twisted black brush falling from his hand. I only wanted to be remembered, he whispered, tears falling. I wanted to create something no one would forget. You still can, Alex said gently, but through beauty, not destruction. The shadow painter wept, and the sky slowly cleared. The trees began to heal, their leaves budding bright green again. The portal painting shimmered, glowing stronger than ever. Leon stepped forward and touched Alex's shoulder. You saved both worlds, she said, smiling through tears. At that moment, a voice from the wind called to Alex. It was the old artist's voice, warm and kind. It is time to go home, Alex. Mei Hua Yuan awaits. Alex looked at Leon, his heart aching. Will I ever see you again? He asked. Leon smiled. Whenever you see the plum blossoms bloom, I'll be there. Alex stepped through the glowing painting, and in a flash, he was back in Mei Hua Yuan, standing beneath the old plum tree. Morning sunlight bathed the courtyard in gold, and the scent of jasmine filled the air. In his hand, he still held the heart brush, now just an ordinary paintbrush. Or so it seemed. He smiled and looked up at the sky, where a single white blossom floated down, as if carried on the breath of another world.